What's going on, everybody? This is Ross. I'm with Mac the Rebel from Girl Alliance, PXR. We're with our friend Gaz, Ancient Visionz from the Ancient Visionz blog. Today, we are doing our review for the film Venom, Marvel's Venom, the controversial Venom. We are Venom. So, guys, starring Tom Hardy. There was a lot of things going on with the reviews when this one first came out. You know what I'm saying? They were saying the critics hated it, and we all had to hate it. There was even some rumors about these Lady Gaga fangirls going on and writing bad reviews. But it came out, and then I think the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes is like, I think, an 87, and the tomato meter is like a 29. So what's going on, guys? What's the discrepancy? Talk to me. Where did we go wrong in this one?
Well, I could just say, first off, PG-13. That's one thing that's wrong.
Yeah, the PG-13 downgrade, actually. I want to make sure we hit that.
I guess that would be, to me, the only thing I would find wrong, because PG-13 just means what it is. You know, a lot of things will get cut. A lot of things will be edited.
Yep.
Speech-wise, dialogue-wise, violence-wise, scenes and all that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's how I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I want to speak on that point real quick then to start us off, because I feel like, I mentioned this to you guys off camera. Every time we get promised a comic book villain movie and it's going to be dark and rated R and grimy, it never happens. They did this to us with Suicide Squad. We were promised dark, indie, low budget, R rating, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't happen. It comes out. David Ayer says, oh, you guys were right. I should have never did that. It should have been R. Joker should have been the leader. Should have been this, should have been that. And, that's my fear with like Venom, if we're going to get a bunch of after the fact, should have been this and should have been that. My personal feeling on it is I feel like we were never going to get our Venom. I feel like the plan was they signed Tom Hardy, who's a guy we typically know from, R-rated stuff and hardcore action films. And basically, we got some film updates and some trailers along the way. Oh, we got Tom Hardy. He's training MMA. It looks grimy. And then at the last minute, it was like the 35 to 45 minutes that Tom Hardy said were his favorite parts of the movie. And then it was the PG-13 downgrade. So it's like, my feeling is that we were probably never going to get an R-rated cut. My feeling is that they either had the idea all along to pitch it to us like they did with Suicide Squad, something, more hardcore and better than what we were going to get, and then downgrade it to PG-13 right before release, or they got cold feet halfway through and we're like, oh man, no, we shouldn't go the R, for whatever reason they felt like it wasn't going to do well if it was rated R, and then they downgraded it to PG-13 to get more, parents and their kids, in the seats at the theater, which for me is like, that's definitely not the way to go, especially because this is Sony, and especially because they have all these examples of recently things that have been done well. Deadpool, Deadpool 1, if you want to mention it, Deadpool 2, Logan, all things that did well, didn't skimp on the violence, and, got good reviews. People came out, they sold tickets, you know what I mean? As far as they did well, even, monetary wise, they did well as far as we know. So I don't see why they would get scared with Venom and do the pivot. You know what I mean? To me, it doesn't make sense.
Do you think it's got something to do with the possible future Spider-Man crossover? Sony is going to have the rights to Spider-Man soon, or do they already have once he's finished appearing in the Avengers movies? So that possibly could be it.
Yeah, I heard about that. Mac, did you have a point on that?
But yeah, before I get into that Spider-Man thing, I just wanted to add on to what you said right there, the PG-13 also, that's just always been such a, an issue and whatever. Even with Expendables 3, you remember that, right?
Right.
You had studios because Stallone's giving you what the fans want, action. Back in the days, nitty-gritty, iron grit action. And then when you got the 3, all of a sudden, let's bring more of the kids to come watch and see how, Expendables is. And you saw what happened, downgraded the violence, downgraded the blood. Everything that was Expendables felt like it got stripped of its nuts. And that's, I'm not going to say that's the same thing for Venom. Some things work as PG-13 while some...
Yeah, some do. You know, I heard similar feedback with the RoboCop remake. You know what I mean? You have like the Elite Squad director, which you expect nothing but perfection from, and then RoboCop 1 and 2 being like these legendary classic sci-fis. And, you know, people said like, oh, RoboCop, you know, you got Gary Oldman and RoboCop's coming back, and they're like, why is it PG-13? You know what I mean? So yeah, it does happen. You know what I mean? It does happen. But yeah, I don't know. Like Gaz said, I did hear conspiracies about that. You know, that they were going to try to cross Spider-Man in over whatever, and it what, you know, if it's going to be R, it won't work. I mean, it's the same thing with like Deadpool. You know, you have Deadpool and Cable by themselves because they can't cross over into the MCU, or if they do, they'll be edited and they won't be talking like how they talk in the Deadpool trilogy. So, you know what I mean? It's a weird gray area, you know? So,
I mean, and just to add on to that now, about the Spider-Man, mind you, there are a lot of comic book fans that are critical of it just because of the absence of Spider-Man. Like, well, wait a minute, Spider-Man first in the comics. Why is he going for Eddie Brock? Look, first off, it's a Venom tale. Venom's always been, you know, that standalone character. You know, obviously, you know, people mistake him for villain. You know, they were even expecting a super villain movie. You know, this ain't like super. Why? This is just, you know, Venom's an anti-hero. You know what I mean? So basically, anti-hero movie, kind of like the Punisher. You know, and the Punisher, regardless, you know what I mean, he's going to go
back and forth like Deadpool. You know, I mean, there's tons of neutral characters like that. And I guess people just, you know, probably aren't as versed on that as we are. You know?
Exactly. Like, you're always going to have a conflict between good and evil based on your morals. And Venom, and, you know, fits the category of that, you know, like, but Eddie Brock, as you know, him as a human being, you know, obviously, Tom Hardy did a good job playing him. Obviously, they didn't have supposed to play him, except they left out the asshole element. But pardon my friends on that.
Well,
technical error there.
Maybe that's something he can, like, you know, they can develop on in the sequel. But when they're already telling us down the line of like, oh well, now that it did good, the sequel is all but confirmed, but it's not going to be an R-rated sequel. It's like, you're probably not going to see Tom Hardy get any more hardcore than he already got in the first one, because like you said, if they're gonna right off the bat limit the amount of swears that him and the symbiote are going to say to each other via the PG-13 rating, you know what I mean? What's the sense? But
really good point, right?
Yeah. I do like Tom Hardy, like we said. You know, I think he's awesome. I mean, he used influence from Conor McGregor for this movie. He was training MMA. Like, it seems like he took the training seriously. You know, I've seen his training videos, and the trainer said that, like, you know, he was working hard. You know what I mean? So I don't know why he was working so hard training hand-to-hand combat for a CGI heavy action film, but that's just beyond me. So.
Well, the rumor is that there was 40 minutes cut from the theatrical version, which is meant to contain all the R-rated scenes, and that Tom Hardy signed up believing it was going to be the full R-rated edition.
That's what I think.
You know, I mean, we'll get more into this as the review goes on. I still enjoyed it, thought it was a good film, but I feel they just missed the mark with downgrading it to PG-13. I wanted to see the R-rated version that we all were hoping for.
But you know what, Gaz? I hear what you're saying on that. It's just like, you know how when they release on Blu-ray and DVDs, you know, unrated version, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, the unrated version.
Are we going to get that, though? Because, like, what they'll do is they'll probably just take 2 or 3 of those scenes and make them deleted scenes. I highly doubt they'll give us 45 minutes of uncut footage of all the, you know, of all the actual R-rated, you know, fights and kills. You know what I mean? I think nothing would make me happier than if they did. You know what I mean? Because then we would have an actual, you know, we would all just end up watching that version. You know what I mean? Like,
plus, if you got someone like Venom talking about, oh, I'll rip your limbs off, eat your eyes, eat your face, all that.
Yeah, I'm gonna bite your head off, but I'm gonna do it in a real clean PG-13 manner that doesn't show any blood. So let's talk about some of these. Well, okay, brief synopsis. I don't want to go too into spoilers, but we'll probably hit on like 2 or 3 just so we can move along. You know, I do like the intro, how it kind of has a grimy, you know what I mean, Roswell-esque kind of, you know what I mean, whatever you want to call it, UFO crash sci-fi intro. I thought that was, you know, the atmosphere was pretty cool.
Almost reminded me of the thing. Almost.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. I definitely got vibes of classic sci-fi vibes there. I thought, you know, the intro I thought came in hot. It's got a San Francisco backdrop. So your man Eddie Brock is no longer a New York reporter in this chapter. He's actually in the San Francisco Bay, which is fine by me. They had to do it for the science themes. You know, you could talk about Riot. You know what I'm saying? They describe him as a team leader symbiote. He's basically the antagonist to Venom. You know, they're arch rivals, arch nemesis, and all that. I thought Riot was pretty awesome. Even that Riot fight at the end was pretty cool. I'd say that was one of the best parts.
Man, Riot was evil, bro.
He was sick. His weaponry and his tactics I thought were awesome. You know, I feel like he was definitely an R-rated character. I wouldn't be surprised if a ton of the Riot
oh
footage
my God.
I wouldn't be surprised if a ton of the Riot footage got cut. You know what I mean?
Dude, I was just thinking that, like, this is more, he plays it like a more R-rated, cold, you know, I don't give a F type character, you know, so.
Cold
heart. Man.
And then, the CGI, can you guys discuss how it was a little wonky in some points? Because I mean, it was. I think we all knew that from the trailer, you know. Like
I'll say on the fight scenes, it was a little wonky. But obviously you can see that
there's so much going on, you know what I mean, that it's just like two symbiotes splashing inside of each other. So
I think maybe if it hadn't been for Tom Hardy's rad performance, we'd have probably been even more critical on the CGI. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't the worst I've seen, but Tom Hardy did the voice of Venom as well, which I thought was really good.
That was cool. That was cool.
It's funny because he was in LA and he sounded like a New Yorker. So.
He was up north of the Bay, but well, I think he said he moved there. He didn't say he was from the Bay, so I think it was still like he moved from New York. You know what I mean? They didn't specifically say that, but that's
okay.
Yeah, because he kind of had that accent, like you were saying, Mac. But yeah, the CGI. I mean, it's everybody agrees, you know, that like, you know, the mask did look a little rubbery when the trailer dropped. You know, I was afraid we were going to get another incarnation of Spawn 1. You know what I mean at first, but it wasn't quite that bad. But yeah, the CGI, you know, it wasn't exactly James Cameron doing it, so it definitely could be worked on. But again, I think like most things that weren't the utmost strong points, I feel like is stuff that could be like worked on in the sequel. You know, unless it's just like Venom 1.5, which is essentially another PG-13 sequel. So.
Definitely, but at the same time, I'm kind of glad they didn't go too hard on it, just because they wanted to show more of the Venom origin. Not to mention, I mean, obviously, even despite Spider-Man's absence, you know, let's be real, you guys, it's Eddie Brock as Venom, not Spider-Man. So
I wasn't looking for him. Spider-Man fights the same villains every time he pops up. He fights Hobgoblin. They tried to throw in Sandman and Venom a couple times. What's his name? Dr. Octopus. He always fights the same villains. He always fights the same villains. Always.
Never seems to leave high school.
That too. So like, you know, imagine if Riot came into his high school and just chopped his teacher's head off with those freaking axe arms. You know what I mean? It would have got extreme fast. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much almost everything that I wanted to hit on. Would you like to tell us about the legendary secret scene cameo after the credits, Mac? And you can
Well, I'm not gonna get into it too much. I'm not even gonna say who it is, but I'll tell you, it's a very big surprise for everyone after the end credit scene. I
thought we were gonna talk about it, dude. It's already on YouTube, dude.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. If you guys gotta watch it, watch it. Let's just say they are planning a sequel, and from what it seems like, your boy Carnage might show up. So who knows?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say his name, but it's now that it's too late. I will say, me and Gaz were wondering about our man Woody Harrelson, fire actor, legend. Okay. Yeah. He's awesome in so many movies, man. There's tons of R-rated stuff I like Woody in, and then he pops up with his bald head, and there's just this Raggedy Ann red wig on his head. It is jail cell playing a serial killer, looking like one of those one of those doll bobbleheads, you know what I mean? And it's just, it drove me nuts.
The Chucky, and then he took all of Chucky's hair and just put it on his head.
That's exactly what it looked like. Like they super glued it on his bald noggin. Dude, it drove me crazy. It drove me up a wall. It drove me wild, Gaz. Please, I know you felt the same way, Gaz, so you better tell the truth.
Yeah, I just felt it. You know, he's a rad actor, as you've just pointed out.
Yeah.
And I just thought it put a little bit of cheese in. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to write him off. I think he could do an awesome job as Carnage. But I looked at the suit. I looked at this kind of stick-on wig thing, I guess. And I was just like,
Yeah,
what?
It was too much. I mean, I felt like it was unnecessary. Like maybe they could have did it another way with just like, I don't know, a red hat or a red jumpsuit, or just like having his head painted red or something, like another way.
Well,
you know what I mean?
How about just this? How about just make him bald or something, man? I mean, he in prison.
I mean, I think because you were saying they were trying to somewhat relate it back to his comic origin, which I can understand. But then, kind of like you were saying before, okay, then why not just pick a redheaded actor then? Like, get your man David Caruso in there. I don't know. You know what I mean? But like, why have this blatant, like, you put all this money to this budget of computer generated carnage for an entire movie and riot for an entire movie, and then we get that.
Man.
It threw me off, Before we wrap up here with the some of the tracks at the end of the score, what did you guys think of the Venom cameo there?
No comment.
Gaz, do you have any thoughts on Venom? Or?
Well,
oh god.
Do you think it was unnecessary?
Don't worry, Gaz. I'll save you on this one, man. Look, this is what I think.
Money's in a post.
Yeah.
Okay, the Venom, okay, I'll just say this. It's not one of the highlights of the movie.
Yeah.
It's just a character that's it felt like was just thrown in there at the last minute.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, I get it, the point of how the lady had it and, what she was going to do with it, in order to have Eddie Brock come back. But, yeah, man, I mean, just pretty much, I can't really say much on that character because it was just felt like something that was just thrown in there last minute. And I thought that was a cheap, attempt to just like, I don't know, just add more characters into a story that I don't feel like I'm going to be too interested in based off, how they PG-13 the whole thing. So
it's like unnecessary cameo. There is a female symbiote anyway besides Venom.
There is.
You guys know her name?
Venomverse, yeah.
Yeah, I think she's like yellow, or she's like a different color, right? I think I just read something about her the other day. I forgot her name though. But yeah, there's like 4 or 5 of them that are like Carnage, Riot, all those other ones. But so that pretty much before the little secret scene there of Eddie's epic career interview, you get some hip hop tracks on the on the score here. And as we're, members of Planet X Records, it wouldn't be right if we didn't discuss the hip hop connection here. So your boy Marshall Mathers Eminem comes with the Venom theme song, and I totally agree with Mr. H on this. I don't think it fit the film or the score at all. Like, I think it was just like a thing, like, M's stock was back up again, so they just kind of threw him on there. And
for real.
He's back in the trend with the new album, you know what I mean? But I think like, metal or literally probably anything else would have been a better fit, in my opinion. Like, how did you guys feel? Like, it just, for him doing the theme song, I mean, I don't know. It didn't work for me.
If you're going to do something hip-hop, man, do something more hardcore. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know there's a lot of fans of M out there. They love the guy. They actually revere him as a rap god, but he's not really a rap god. Take it easy, everybody. He's another MC like everyone else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but
agreed.
I'm pretty well. That's just it. But in the end of the day, I feel like it fit with the track. M's more lyrical and hardcore, to tell you the truth. So
right.
The hardcore MC do it if they had to add a hip hop track. But
I agree, man. Where was Ice-T, or what I'm saying, and Body Count? Imagine if it was a cross genre track, guys.
Come on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I just take any cat from the underground scenes. You pretty much know my feelings on.
Well, I agree with you there, but it's Venom, dude. They're not going to pay.
I know. In an ideal world.
Yeah. Now you might get a fire track with a fire beat and fire bars and fire rhymes, but they're not going to just pick one of these guys we like just to pay them a bunch of money to put them.
Oh, of course not. They're going to go for the mainstream, aren't they?
That being said, though, the next track after Eminem's Venom theme song was actually "Run the Jewels" LP and Killer Mike. It's called "Let's Go," the Royal We. I thought that track was a much better fit. I think they should have just went with that. You know what I mean? If that's the avenue that they were going to take. El Producto from, legendary, underground Co-Flow and Killer Mike. You know what I mean? They got their group together. And, Run the Jewels has that, they have that pace. They kind of always come hardcore. They always have that upbeat, up-tempo, fire flow. So, those guys I thought really killed it. So if you like hip hop, check out that track, "Let's Go" by Run the Jewels. I thought it was like a perfect ending.
Would you like to see? Yeah, go on, Mark.
No, I was just gonna say, I thought it was a pretty exceptional track for it too. I mean, that's the thing. Obviously there's gonna be some tracks that fit and some don't, like BX.
Yeah, so. For sure. But I was like, why put two joints on top of each other like that? It's like, it's just kind of, whatever. For me, for me and guys, like everyone's saying, like, if you're leaning towards the underground stuff, you're probably going to go with Run the Jewels.
Yeah.
But it is.
Yeah. But what are you saying, guys?
I was just saying there's even bigger names, which I think VX was Ross was alluding to. He could have gone like for Prophets of Rage, who are big at the moment.
Prophets of Rage. I just thought of that real quick too.
That would have worked.
That would have worked there. And at the moment, that could have led you to get some of the big, even thrash metal bands or even a death metal band, which would really
like
go
Rage
with Venom.
Definitely. See, that's what I said originally when we all talked. I was like, why would you not have a metal soundtrack on Venom? Yeah. Like, somebody better get a metal soundtrack. If they keep doing villain movies and there's like not one metal soundtrack, there's something wrong. You know what I mean?
Basically, if you're gonna make a score, music, or whatever, make it fit with the character that's on film. If
there's a bunch of brawls on screen and a bunch of fighting and action scenes, you'd think it fits in somewhere. It's not going to be a symphony. It's not going to be Beethoven. You know what I mean?
You could go for some of those big names, like we said, Prophets of Rage. Body Count at the moment, who dropped a killer album. You tie that in with some of the big bands from thrash and death metal, so you've got the hardcore sound from each scene in its balance, and that would fit. I mean, could you imagine something like that playing whilst he was on his motorbike being pursued?
Exactly. I was thinking of Chino XL or somebody that has that full-time flow. I would have took Tech 9, honestly. Somebody that can hit that.
See, those are MCs that can actually drop that hard, okay, you can tell, like, even their style of rap is more comic infused, so
for sure, exactly.
They can actually fit with that. So yeah, man, I'm sorry, Eminem fans, he ain't gonna win an Oscar for this one, just like he won for 8. So
that's the tagline of our interview.
On Hot 97 or up on 99, Power 99, because I'm just gonna shoot it down like usual. So yeah.
I think Chino even has a graphic novel. So there's a couple of MCs, and rappers, underground lyricists that even have comics and graphic novels. So that would be great. But I don't know. That's pretty much everything I think we have on Venom. Unless you guys have any final thoughts, but I think we all agree that the PG-13 downgrade, this film suffered from the cut footage and the rating downgrade. I'd be interested to see what could happen in a sequel with, if Riot would come back, if we see Carnage, or, I'd be even more interested if they could do an R-rated sequel, like was what they should do with the Suicide Squad. So we'll see what happens. Yeah. But I definitely don't think it was terrible. It was like all the critics said. Like we said, Tom Hardy had a pretty good performance. Maybe some footage probably could have left out some of the slower stuff, but it sounds like they cut a lot of the good stuff already.
It was still an entertaining movie that could have been better if they'd gone for the R-rated tag, but it was still good, and it's nowhere near as bad as what all the mainstream critics are saying. It's still an entertaining movie, and it's still a good version of Venom, and Tom Hardy's voice as Venom is dope.
Yep. And to reiterate what Max said, I really don't care about Peter Parker crossing over the Spider-Verse anytime. And so I would much rather just see, man, if it's not even going to be Venom, it could just be a symbiote movie, or it could just be a Carnage solo, or, just the whole symbiote universe, like the stuff I was sending you guys about the backdrop of their universe's origin,
Yeah, is it Krull or something, the god of the symbiotes?
Yeah, exactly, dude. That'd be crazy, dude. So who knows? I'd like to see more development with the Venom storyline and just focusing on the symbiotes, as opposed to Eddie Brock is going to go interview Peter Parker in the high school classroom for the 500th time. You know what I mean? That's just me.
Anyway, my final thoughts, and I'm just gonna add the score along with it also.
Okay, man.
Basically, Venom. Don't get me wrong. Like when I watched Venom, I wanted to see a Venom movie, not a Spider-Man / Venom.
Agree.
Don't get me wrong. I got what I asked for. It's just not everything I asked for. You know.
Yeah, it's just falls short of it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because it seems was played right. Everything was played right on the script. It was just like how the not action just how it was with the PG-13 and the restrictions and such. You know, giving
editing and the cuts. Yeah,
making the film so much better than what it could be. I have to give it more of a 6.5 out of 10 for this one.
Yeah, definitely.
Good film and stays consistent. I mean, almost consistent, but it just doesn't give enough. But Tom Hardy would be the only reason I watch it, and Riot. So
yeah, I'd agree. I gave it a 7 out of 10, but I could see it being anything from a 6 to a 7. I don't know if you have a rating goes.
Yeah, I'm actually on a 7.
Nice. So you guys are tied.
I thought Tom Hardy performance was good. I liked it, as I've mentioned throughout the review. His voice for Venom was rad.
Yeah, it was.
I just wanted to fully explore this potential. Future movies, maybe explore the Venomverse as well, and hopefully we can get an R-rated version at one time. But I'm still grateful that we have got, I think, a solid-ish version of Venom on the big screen, not the Venom we had in Spider-Man 3.
I'm so glad you said that.
Let's just forget that.
I'm so glad you said that. And here's the thing about it too, like learning from like Wolverine Origins not being the best one, and the Wolverine, and you're still like, I don't know, I'm on the fence, and then Logan being the best movie I've ever seen in my life. It gives you some hope for maybe the other trilogies would be able to follow that blueprint and be like, look, like people said, 1 could have been better. People said 2 could have been better. I mean, it'd be nice if they caught on for faster than the third movie of the series. And then again, isn't this Sony Pictures? Isn't this the studio that made Sicario and Sicario 2, The Day of the Soldado, the 2 best movies of all time? So that's what I was lost on. I was like, you guys just made Sicario, and like you never like hang back on any violence or any cuts or censorship in the Sicario movie. So like it showed me that like if you're the same studio that did that, you could have did that for Venom. Like we know you guys could have did it. So
and that's the thing. It's so much they could have done, but I feel like it's just like how you guys said it before about how you wouldn't be surprised if Spider-Man edition would be added on.
Yeah.
It's
I don't care about that. Like, see, they're talking about that with Deadpool too, saying when Disney and Marvel combined with Fox, that Deadpool and everything from the DP universe will be combined into the MCU, and then like Deadpool's not going to be R anymore, and X-Force will be like PG-13. So where are we going with this? It's like every time you get any kind of violence or language down the line, your studio is going to merge with Disney, and you're only going to have a PG-13 future. Is that where we are? Because that's how it's looking like.
Yeah, man.
So
I mean, and I wonder.
I don't know.
It makes you think. It makes you think if it wasn't for the comedic aspect with Deadpool. I was about to say, would we have got an R-rated character like that on the screen? Now I've just remembered the Logan movie, so I retract that point.
But Logan was New Line Cinema or that? So the only way you ever get it is with the other studios, which they're all slowly combining into the Darth Disney Marvel monster. So that's what I don't understand about it. It's like, if you're lucky enough to get one, or like back on Marvel Nights, which we haven't heard of in a long time, or it's another studio like New Line or Sony, and that's why with Sony I was hoping they could do it, because I was like, okay, yeah, it's not Disney, it's not maybe we're gonna get it. You know what I mean?
Aren't they developing? Which studio is developing Morbius the Living Vampire, and isn't that going to be PG-13 as well?
I don't know. I'll have to look into that. I thought I heard about him being a series. I think there was talk about him coming up on Netflix at one point, and then talk about him. Blade coming up on Netflix as well, but we'll have to look into that. I don't have any research on that. Maybe that's a question for our man, Mr. H. I'm sure he knows.
I hope they don't do Morbius, just based on the fact that, think about it. How many vampires movies they made, and how you think they're going to take those little ideas and throw it into Marvel? Like,
David S. Square tried to get Morbius in the Blade series back in the day when they were putting on Spike, the Sticky Fingers. So that's your one Morbius factor today.
You know which one I'd like to. You know which one I'd like to see, fams. I say every time we either do an episode of Ancient Visionz Radio, or if we're doing paradigm reviews like we are now.
Yeah.
Because I'm such a fanboy for the character. Moon Knight, yeah, of course.
Yeah, we'll have to do our own in-depth Moon Knight deconstruction breakdown, because you're never going to get any credible Moon Knight information from the current studios. So, but
for real.
I think we've drifted off a little bit from Venom. I hope you all enjoyed us. Venom, We Are Venom, Tom Hardy, the epic villain film that should have been R and ended up PG-13, just like Suicide Squad and every other villain film. So please don't. Shout out to DC and DC Black for doing Joaquin Phoenix Joker and having it be rated R. We thank you for that. Definitely, I think that'll probably be the first one that will actually stick to. And thank God Joker will be rated R. You know why? Because Joker is like the overlord of all the villains, unless Darth Vader is the one in charge, and then Joker's second in charge. So imagine if Joker was PG-13, dude, there'd be riots in the streets. So let's just we know that ridiculous. Paradigm Reviews in association with Ancient Visionz, PXR UK division, Mac the Rebel, Guerrilla Alliance, Planet X Records. I'm Ross. Like, subscribe, comment. Drop what you would like us to review below in the comments. We'll probably review The Night Comes For Us, featuring Eco from the Raid Redemption. It's on Netflix. Go check that out. And then we're looking to review Overlord. Gaz has already seen that, so we're hoping to get that review up next weekend. Anything else you guys want us to review, keep them coming. Also, Bodied, the battle rap movie. We'll probably be reviewing that at the end of the month. So keep it locked. You guys want to shout out anything? Handles, links?
Planet X Filmworks, you'll find it at you can find the PXM Films on YouTube. You'll find it also PX Films on Twitter.
Yes, sir. You can also find my Twitter on Gaz's timeline. I'm gonna keep saying that.
It works. It works us all, so it's the safe fallback.
Yeah, right now it works. But yeah, that's pretty much everything. Keep it locked. If you're new, subscribe. Make sure to hit the bell button to get our notifications. And every time we do these reviews, you can watch them live. Shout out to our one viewer now.
Shout out to Patrick. He's holding us down. Thanks for tuning in, man. Follow us all on Twitter. You can follow me at Gaz Visionz. The Ancient Visionz handle is at Visionz Radio. Don't forget to subscribe to Planet X Filmworks on YouTube. Search for Planet X Films. Also search for Ancient Visionz on YouTube. And don't forget to visit the PXR site, planetxrecords.net. Let us know if you want us to review anything. As Ross and Max said, we can also look at some hip-hop too. Just stay up. Let us know. Reach out. We'll do it. Peace. One love.
You can catch the hip-hop at www.planetxrecords.net. And just to sign off on this note, this is my impersonation of the Joker PG-13 version. Ooh, Batman, I'm going to kill millions and millions of people with boredom, that is. Blowing them up and killing
That'd be the funniest joke in the movie.
Don't give them ideas, fam.
Yeah. Can't be any worse than the killing joke, so. Paradigm Review Show. We're out. Have a good night, folks. Until next time.
Peace.